Hi everybody, Peace Fight Round 2. In this step of the course we will examine when the knight is superior and really get a better understanding of the peace fight concept. The first example we really should talk about is the classic between Polka and Anand. They played the Knight of Sicilian and Polka chose the Bishop e3 variation, which is called the English attack, but she played it with this Knight f3, which is the more positional approach. It makes for a really interesting strategical battle we're gonna see now. Because key to the peace fight is that minor pieces work together with pawn structure and pawn structure works together with minor pieces. Therefore, we look at black's pawn structure, d6, e5, and the white pawn on e4. It makes for a weak square in d5 here, because black cannot cover it with pawns anymore, but only with pieces. And it could be a beautiful outpost for a white knight there, and we know that knights love a good outpost. Therefore, it's such a head scratcher that Anand made the mistake of playing bishop takes bishop here, which makes the d5 square even weaker. So let's emphasize that square even more. But it's also that bishop on e7 that's a weakness, because now it's really missing its teammate. Remember that pawns work together with minor pieces and minor pieces work together with pawns. And here, that bishop is just looking into that pawn. And what to do as white here? I like to isolate that bishop by exchanging off those other defenders of the d5 square. First, we need to accept that black is also threatening c2, so we have to defend that. But now, let's try to isolate that bishop on e7 against a white knight. Let's chop off that knight. Knight takes back. And then we jump in to exchange the other knight. And here we absolutely need to take back with the rook here, because then we can still occupy that weak square in d5, with a knight of course. And that's really white's plan here, and black can do nothing about it. It's so difficult for black to generate any play because of the pawn structure here. Yeah, let's jump ahead in the game. White succeeded in exactly what we dreamed about. We can even jump further ahead, where Polka really showed the dominance of the knight against the bishop, which I think Polka recognized earlier than Anand did. And you too can really recognize this earlier than your opponents and really get those dominating victories. Alright, I have another example I really want to show you. It's from one of my own games where I tried to do exactly what Polka did. Let's jump into the game. You see there are a lot of tension here in the center. And there are a lot of tension with minor pieces and pawns in the center. And this tension has huge influence on all the minor pieces in the future. So you have to be a little sharper than your opponent to win this peace fight. In the game I took on d5, he took back. I stole a little tempi with the rook, the queen had to move, and now we look at the minor pieces. White has a knight, and black has that light squared bishop, which is a little weak because it's looking at that d5 pawn now. But now we have to look, what about the exchanges on e5? Would that benefit us? Because with these exchanges we will see an isolation of the bishop on b7 against our knight on g3. Potentially black can push with d4 and have a monster bishop. Let's look a little closer. What would happen after we exchange all the knights on e5, the bishops on e5? Then it becomes a little simpler to examine the peace fight. If black could open up with d4, he would have won the peace fight here with such a strong unopposed bishop. Which brings us to our first beauty move of queen d4. Blocking the advance of the pawn, but also blocking the activity of the bishop. After rook exchange, we now look at the knight and say, where do you want to go? You can go wherever you like. You can go here, you can go here, or here, while black's bishop is just dreaming about the next game. So that's it. If you have questions to this game, please let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next one.